Alright guys, here's the first developer log for the new game project, which as you can see is Tankery Rivals. Continuing the Tankery title trend. Yesterday I got some pretty good work done in regards to the capture system, and today I'm thinking I'll just finish up some UI work. It probably won't be very fun, but tomorrow or maybe a couple days later I'll try to work on maps a little, and in my opinion that would be more fun as a viewer to watch probably. Starting off, we could just add, the settings that change for each button. So we go over here, each of the buttons. So one way that we could keep it organized is just to add text labels inside each of these buttons. That's one way we could do it, and if we were to do that, then scaling the size would also be easier, because you could just set the... And also, just a tip for if you guys are developers yourselves, if you're doing anything with UI, you always want to use scale, never use offset, because check out what happens if I use offset. So it looks fine right now, but look what happens when I change it to something like that. Right there, roughly. Okay, that's centered, not bad. We'll make the text scaled, make it align with the left side. Change the text color to white. I like using Oswald. You can make it a little grayer. Oh, wrong one. Whoopsies. You can make it a little grayer. I actually would like a thinner text, but maybe this. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, we'll go with that. So, shadows disabled. We'll do low detail tracks. And of course, yesterday I finished up with hooking these on to actually changing a setting. But today we're going to be hooking on ammo ratios, which hopefully there's going to be some space back here. 1, 2, 3, and then we're just going to add some plus minus buttons. So let's go ahead and create a list layout here, just so we don't need to organize that ourselves. I don't like how it starts at the top like that, so we can just cheese it, I guess, do that. I need to make sure we can still click the buttons though, and as you can see we can, so that works. Oh, we don't need a frame for this, we just need a nope, a text button. Add a aspect ratio constraint. Add a corner. Size it up correctly. About something like this is probably okay. Okay, we're probably gonna want it to be on this side, and then we can add the plus minus buttons here and confirm right there, because this UI is a little narrow, which I don't really like. Line there, something like that. Probably look better if it was aligned left with that. Yeah, close enough. So that'll be primary, secondary, tertiary. Set that to like 0.2. Obviously, these are just placeholder values, text, so to say. Inside of each of these, we're probably going to want to add an int value. The thing with int values, though, is, you know, as it implies, it's an integer value, so we can't actually store it as a decimal here. So we're going to need to make sure that when we actually send it to our stat handler inside of server script service, that we divide whatever value is there by 10. We have these text buttons set up with int values inside of each of them. We just need to add a confirm button and plus minus arrows for whatever. We could make the selected box show up green or highlight the edge as green, which is cleaner and matches what goes on here. So essentially the idea is they'll click on this, border will go green, then you can edit through here. So it's pretty straightforward, and we will write it into our stat handler, where we can just simply add on here with primary ratio equals default of 0.7, second, no, that's not what I wanted, and tertiary ratio of 0.1. And we also need to make sure that we send it through our stat updater. Oh, well, there we go. Okay. The assistant is reading my mind. Let's just make sure it didn't screw anything up. Go ahead and make that green. Darker green looks a bit better. And just a light green right there. For subtract, okay, we can rotate the gradient a little bit just so it'll look a bit different. And we'll just make it red by knocking it over a little bit to the side. Just like that. Doesn't really look that good in my opinion. Probably need to work on it some more. I feel like probably a solid background with a slight outline would look the best. Probably make it the same size as this for, oh, meant this. Just to confirm real quick before we keep on going on, just make sure that we can actually still click on these. And yes, we can. That's a little bit better. Okay. So we have this over here. Nothing really fancy you can do with this. Probably just background color or something like this, and you know, text scale, make the text Oswald, text color white, all caps, confirm, and a UI corner. Did we set the size correctly? No, we did not. I forgot to. Go ahead, change this. It's too big. Go ahead, add it close to this, plus minus confirm. All in pretty easy to access locations. Make sure we got the size scaling correct. Yes, we did. Okay. So it's time to add on to. Alright, it took a little break after doing the UI. I'm probably gonna try to trim it down, that UI stuff, to about 4 minutes maybe, but that actually took me around 20 minutes, I think, 20 to 25. Yeah, today's devlog probably isn't going to be all that fun, to be honest, because it's just UI work and scripting. But yeah, let's work on the script. I've already set up all the connections and variables. Obviously just adding on to the existing stuff we have. So we're just gonna make the add and subtract buttons work for today. So let's see. Okay, because we're dealing with multiple buttons and multiple values, it's probably just the easiest to access them through a table. So let's just do ammo vowels as a table. We can have primary equals primary vowel, so on. Okay, good boy. And then ammo buttons. Nope. Equal to that. Oh, that is not correct. It should be where is it? Right, tertiary button. Okay, wait, these are all wrong. Not used to commentating on everything I'm doing. Right, okay. So first you obviously need to define our variables. So local selected val would just be yep. Probably also gonna want to define the local selected button. Yes, okay. Alright, now we need to get the sum of all of them. Mainly so we can make sure that we're not going over 10 in this case, but really it's just we don't want to go over 100%. So let's do that. Sum equals primary val. If sum is less than or equal to 10, then we will allow you to add stuff. Yes, selected value plus equals 1, and let's just add a safeguard if selected value is greater than or equal to 10, which in this case is 100%. Then selected value will be equal to 10. Let's just run through the logic real quick. You click on one of, it's a set default to primary. Click on one of these, it would set selected ammo to primary, then we read from our table. Selected value changes, we get the total sum. If sum is less than or equal to 10, then we're going to allow you to add to this value. And if that value is greater than or equal to 10, then it would just be equal to 10. Now we just need to do the text. It's kind of annoying when the thingy shows up like the, I don't know, the auto-complete or whatever, and it's just wrong, and you're trying to read over it to see if it's right, just so you can save some time, but you know, I guess the lesson is just not to be lazy. Let's just set it up ourselves. So selected button.text, which is simply equal to string, because right now it is a integer value, or number value. Selected val.value. Right, that looks right. So let's just test this real quick. Oh no, right, my bad. Because if we do that, it's just gonna show as integers. We need it in decimal form. Okay. Let's just go ahead and hook up subtract button, and honestly, I'm just gonna dip. I'm kind of fucking tired. Okay, these two variables are gonna be identical. Obviously, for subtract button, we do not need to run a sum check. We just need to run if it's less than or equal to 0. So if selected val is greater than 0, then selected val minus equals 1, and if selected val is less than or equal to 0, then yes. Okay, cool. And yeah, here we go. Just do this again. Oh, okay. Less than an instance because I forgot to do that. Cool. So I'll just stop this devlog here for today. Obviously, this is not finished. Tomorrow I'll probably finish up this UI. Basically, when you click it, the outside will become green as selected. And we're also going to hook it up to our stat handler here. Yeah, it's gonna be very fun, guys. Okay, but seriously though, if you did watch all the way to here, thank you for watching my first devlog. I know it probably sucked a lot, but you know, it's the first one for a reason. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more if you guys enjoy them.